Joining us now, economist Daniel Altman. He's also the author of the High Yield Economics newsletter. Daniel, thanks so much for being here. Give me your economic take on what the president laid out last night about what we've experienced this year and looking to 2026.
Marnie, there's no doubt that people are still hurting from the severe inflation that we suffered before the second Trump administration. But this administration really hasn't been able to get out of its own way as far as economic policy goes. The tariffs have created so much uncertainty. It's really paralyzed a lot of investment and hiring decisions. Hopefully, that paralysis and that uncertainty will ebb next year, and we'll be able to see the economy grow strongly again.
The president talked about gas prices that are going down, which they are, and energy costs as well. And he talked about other things like the food we eat, grocery bills, that those are going down fast. In contrast to what we're hearing a lot of people say when we interview them leaving the grocery or a food pantry saying, I can't reconcile that. How long before, as the president promised, things will go down in that department?
Well, gas prices tend to go up and down. Food prices don't usually go down much. And what we've seen in the report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics today is that prices still are rising, just not as quickly. Energy prices in particular were actually the biggest increase over the past 2 months since we didn't have a report last month. But a lot of other things have really moderated. So we're not so much looking for prices to go down. I think that's unlikely in most categories, but we are looking for more price stability. And that's something that'll make the Federal Reserve happy as well.
As you look at the report out today on inflation and the state of the economy, what stands out to you most about the data?
Well, we really have to ask why inflation moderated so much over the past couple of months. We had been seeing inflation at a rate of 3 to 3.5% over the previous several months. Now we're almost stable over the last couple of months. And we have to ask whether that was because the economy got punched in the stomach by the shutdown and the weakening labor market, and there's just not as much demand for goods and services, or whether we're actually seeing an ebbing of the effects of tariffs and other things that have been pushing prices up over time. One of the most favorable and encouraging things was that housing prices were in line with other prices in the economy and not rising more quickly. And that's something that's really been troubling a lot of consumers.
When people at home hear 2026, you're going to have some of the biggest tax cuts we've seen. The president touting the big, beautiful bill, saying that's coming come April in terms of what you'll get back from the government. How does that influence consumer spending, especially right now when people are purchasing more than they usually do?
It's a great question because we could see a couple of different effects, and it really depends who's going to receive the biggest cuts as well. We know that a lot of this bill is an extension of the 2017 tax cuts, which disproportionately benefited high-income Americans. Those high-income Americans are driving a lot of spending in this economy, but they're also less likely to spend out of each dollar because it's not as essential for them. And the other thing that we have to ask is if people do get big rebate checks, or we've even heard about tariff rebate checks coming towards Americans, whether they'll save that money or spend it. Because if they're still in a sort of precautionary mindset, then they're more likely to save a bigger proportion of that money and not spend it straight into the economy now.
Great insight. Daniel Altman, thank you. Appreciate the time.